Every contact leaves a trace. This is the foundation of forensic science, known as the Locker's exchange principle. Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. I am Manjotinath from Case 23, and today in this video we'll discuss one of the most crucial aspects of forensic investigation, that is evidence. We will explore its types, classifications, forensic applications, and also the latest legal provisions under Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita and Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that impact criminal justice. So today in this video, first we will discuss the introduction to evidences. That is, what are basically evidences? And then we'll discuss the classification of evidences, on what basis the evidences are classified, and that the different types of evidences that are found in criminal investigation, and also the importance of forensic evidences. Then we'll move forward to the important legal provisions under BNS and BNSS. And finally, we'll end the video with challenges in forensic evidences. Okay. Cut. So the first part is introduction. So what are evidences? Evidences refer to any information, material, testimony, or record that helps establish facts in a legal investigation or trial. So basically, whenever a forensic expert goes into a crime scene, obviously the first job has to be to secure the crime scene, and then the most important part will be to find as much as evidences as possible in the crime scene. So that's how important the evidences are in criminal investigation. Every case depends on the strength of its evidences. Without it, there is no proof, therefore no justice and no conviction. And next, the essential role in evidences. It plays a crucial role in proving or disproving a fact, a crime, a suspect's involvement, or a sequence of events in a court of law. For example, if a certain person denies the presence of him in a particular place at that particular moment of time, now the statement made by him can be disproven by the fact that if there is a CCTV camera available at that place, the police personnel can check the CCTV footage and check whether he was actually present or not. Now here, the CCTV camera played an essential role as evidence to find out whether he was present or absent at that particular moment of time. Next, the classifications of evidences. Now let's classify the evidences based on how it's collected and used in forensic investigations. Now, the first is direct evidence. Direct evidence directly proves a fact in issue. Example, CCTV footages, eyewitness testimony, etc. Like I have explained earlier, the role of CCTV footage. Now that was a direct evidence, likely proving the fact that the person was present at that moment. Second is the indirect evidence. Indirect, or also known as circumstantial evidence, requires inference to connect it to a fact in issue. Example, fingerprints or suspect's weapon at a crime scene. Now, for example, imagine a robbery case. If the security guard saw the suspect steal the money, that's a direct evidence. That is, the security guard played as the eyewitness in that case. But if the suspect's fingerprints were found on the stolen money, that's a circumstantial evidence that proves the fact that he was present at that moment when the money was being stolen. Now, the third classification of evidences are the primary evidences. Primary evidence is the original source of information, also which is the best proof of information. For example, an original CCTV footage showing a suspect committing a crime, or the actual murder weapon found with the suspect's fingerprints, or the original signed contract in a fraud case. Now what are these? These are primary evidences. Now followed by primary evidences are the secondary evidences. Now the secondary evidences are nothing but the copy or reproduction of the original evidences which are used when the primary evidence is unavailable. For example, the screenshot of the same CCTV footage instead of the original video, or the signed copy of a contract instead of the actual one, or the typed transcript of the handwritten suicide note. Now these are the secondary evidences. Next are the oral evidences. Now oral evidences are the statement made by witnesses under oath. For example, victim's testimony, expert witness statements, etc. Now let's imagine a case like if a bystander testifies in a court that he saw the accuser running away from the crime scene. Now that is a oral evidence because he's saying that yeah, I saw that the person was committing that crime and he ran away from the crime scene. Now complementary to oral, there is documentary evidence. Now any written or recorded materials that proves any fact are documentary evidences. For example, emails, medical reports, legal contracts, etc. Now, a medical report proving injuries in an assault case or a written suicide note found at a crime scene. These are also the form of documentary evidences since they are written in documentary form. After that, the next classifications are real evidences and demonstrative evidences. Now, the real evidences is any physical object that were part of the crime scene. For example, the weapon used by the killer, any piece of cloth, blood samples, or any other object that are collected from the crime scene. Now, complementary to that, there are cases where no evidences are found in the crime scene. In that case, demonstrative evidences are used. Now, what are they? Demonstrative evidences is used to illustrate or explain something, like the crime scene diagrams made by the forensic expert or 3D reconstructions to explain the crime scene in the court of law. Now, these are demonstrative evidences. Now, the last classification of evidences are corroborative evidence and hearsay evidence. Now, corroborative evidences support existing evidence strengthening a case. That is, they are additional evidences that support or strengthen existing evidence or testimony. It doesn't stand alone but confirms the credibility of other evidence. Now, in the court of law, if a certain witness testifies that, yeah, I saw Ram wearing a blue shirt while the crime was being committed. Now, this will strengthen the case that Ram was present wearing a blue shirt in the crime scene. Some of the examples of corroborative evidences are CCTV footage from the location corroborates the witness's statement, strengthening their testimony. A medical report confirming injuries in assault case, supporting the victim's testimony. The next is hearsay evidence. Hearsay evidence is an out-of-court statement offered as a proof. That is, hearsay evidences are the second-hand information that a person did not witness themselves but was told by someone else. It is generally not admissible in court because it cannot be cross-examined. For example, if a witness says in the court that my friend told me that he saw the suspect commit the crime, that is, he himself did not saw that the man committed the crime, but instead he heard his friend said that, yeah, I saw the suspect when the crime was being committed. Here, since the witness did not personally see the crime, and the statement is based on what someone else said, it is hearsay and usually not used as evidence. Now, another example can be if a witness testifies that, yeah, I heard from a neighbor that the suspect was seen running away. Also here, the person did not himself saw the crime, but instead he heard from another person. Now, that ends our classification of evidences. Then, next we'll move forward to the types of evidences that are found in crime scene investigation. Now, this is a short quote I found in the internet. Unfortunately, I don't know who wrote it, but I found it quite fascinating and therefore I thought to show you guys. It states that the evidences are the silent witnesses that never forget. Even if a witness or the eyewitnesses can give a false statement, but evidences remain surreal. They never lie in the court of law. So moving forward, the next topic is type of evidences. Now there can be n number of evidences that can be found in the crime scene, but the most basic and important evidences are given here. So few of them are physical evidences, biological evidences, chemical evidences, digital evidences, trace evidences, documentary evidences. So let's explain one by one. Also I've attached the images of each type of evidences. So the first type of evidence is physical evidence. Physical evidences relate to the crime scene. That is, they also include tangible objects found at a crime scene. These are items that investigators can collect, analyze, and present in the court as proof. So, why it is important? First, it helps connect a suspect to a crime scene. Second, it provides solid proof that can be scientifically tested. Also, it is less likely to be manipulated compared to witness testimony. For example, at least witness testimony can lie about his statement, but the physical evidences can never lie. Examples of physical testimony include a knife or gun used in a murder, broken glass from a burglary, a shoe print in the mud leading away from the crime. Now, let's understand with a real-life example. A knife with the suspect's fingerprints and blood is found at the crime scene. This is a strong physical evidence that can link the suspect to the crime. Now, the next type of evidences are biological evidences. Biological evidences refer to any organic material from humans or animals that can be tested for DNA or any biological marker. So, why are these biological evidences important? Since DNA is one of the most reliable forensic tools, it can help identify victims or suspects. Also, it can confirm direct physical contact between people involved in a crime. Examples of biological evidences include bloodstains at a crime scene, hair strands in a suspect's clothing, saliva on a cigarette butt or drinking glass. A real-life example include hope you have remembered the Nirvaya case. There, in the Nirvaya case, DNA was collected from the victim's body and was matched to the accused, helping secure convictions. And also, the dental impressions played a crucial role in the solving the Nirvaya case. So, dental impressions also with the saliva played as the biological evidences. The next is chemical evidences. Chemical evidences includes substances like drugs, poison, explosives, and arsons that may have been used in a crime. Why is it important? It can determine if poisoning, drug use, or arson was involved. Also, it helps identify illegal substances and their sources. Also, it is crucial in forensic toxicology and drug-related crimes. Example of chemical evidences include poison found in a victim's body during an autopsy, residue from an explosive device after a bombing. Also, the traces of illegal drugs in a suspect's system are the examples of chemical evidences. Also, let's understand with a real-life case. Imagine a person is found dead in a hotel room. So, there is no sign of strangulation or gunshot. No one knew how the person died. So, during autopsy, it was found that a small amount of arsenic poison was present in the body. Now, that implies that he was killed by poisoning. Now, that arson is an example of chemical evidences. Followed by chemical evidences, the next type of evidences are digital evidences. Now, digital evidences include electronic records that can be retrieved from devices like computers, laptops, mobile phones, etc. Examples of digital evidences include emails, phone calls, and social media interactions. Just to name a few, there can be n number of digital evidences. Now let's understand with the help of a real-life case. Let's imagine a case where a person received a death threat via phone call. So, after the person was being killed, the forensic investigators or the digital forensic investigators can check the phone records or SMS or social media accounts to find any suspicious activity. So when the phone call were being retrieved from the phone, there it can be heard that a certain person had given the victim a death threat. The next types of evidences are trace evidences. Now, trace evidences are often small or microscopic evidences that are found in a crime scene. They are generally invisible to the naked eye, and they require instruments like magnifying glass to observe them. Examples of trace evidences can include gunshot residue, pollen grains, fibers, glass fragments, hairs, etc. Now, let's understand with a real-life example. Now imagine that a person had recently fired a gun to commit a crime. So after repeated questioning by the forensic expert, he is denying the fact that he did not fire any gun. So what the forensic experts can do? They can test for gunshot residues. These will be obviously present in his body as well as in his hands if he had recently fired a gun. So if the forensic scientists find any gunshot residues, this will imply that he had recently fired a gun. Now the last but not the least type of evidences are documentary evidences. These are written materials such as handwritten notes, contracts, or financial records that can provide as evidences to present in the court of law. For example, I'm sure you have heard a lot of suicide cases where they write a suicide note. Now that piece of suicide note acts as a documentary evidences. Now, in the suicide note, if the person who committed suicide has written that he or she was being assaulted by X person, and therefore the suicide note will act as documentary evidence where the X person is the primary suspect. Here are some examples of the types of evidences that I've explained. So a gun in a crime scene can be a physical evidence, or in biological evidence, blood is considered the most commonly found evidence in the crime scene. In chemical evidences, drugs can be a common example. Emails in digital evidence, hair in trace evidence, as well as contract or any legal document in documentary evidence. Now, the next topic is what qualifies as evidence. In forensic science and legal investigation, not everything can be considered as evidence. For an object or statement to be legally and forensically valid, it must meet certain factors or criteria. Let's break it down into 4 factors that can determine whether something qualifies as evidences or not. The first one is relevance. What does it mean? It means that evidence must be directly related to the case and must help either prove or disprove something. If it doesn't contribute to answering a legal question, it is not relevant and cannot be used in the court. For example, as if a suspect's fingerprints are found in a murder weapon, they are relevant. And how they are relevant? Because they link the suspect to the crime. On the other hand, if the fingerprints are found in a public park, they are not necessarily relevant unless they are connected to the case. The second point is reliability. What does it mean? Now, evidence must be scientifically valid and free from bias or errors. If the method used to collect or analyze the evidence is unreliable, the evidence may be not considered trustworthy in court. Example, if DNA analysis is conducted in a certified forensic lab with proper procedures, it will be considered as a reliable evidence. But if the sample is contaminated or the testing process is flawed, the DNA results may not be trustworthy and may not be accepted as evidence in the court of law. Now, the next point is authenticity. Evidence must be genuine and untempered. If an item has been altered, edited, or mishandled, it may be not admissible in the court of law. The key factor here is chain of custody. Now, what is chain of custody? This is a record of who handled the evidences from the crime scene to the court. If there is any gap in the record, the evidence may lose its credibility. That is, the court of law will not accept those evidences. Example, a CCTV recording directly obtained from a secure source is authentic, but if the CCTV footage is edited or altered, it loses its authenticity. The last but not the least point is legality and admissibility in the court. Here, the evidences must be obtained legally for it to be accepted in court. If evidence is collected using illegal methods, it may be not admissible. Example, if police obtain evidence using a valid search warrant, it can be used in the court. But if evidence is obtained through illegal searches or coercion, it may be rejected. Or second type of example may include a confession given voluntarily is admissible, but a confession obtained through threats and torture is not valid. So, for something to qualify as evidence, it must be relevant. reliable, authentic, and legally obtained. If any one of these factors is missing, the evidence may be challenged in the court and even ruled out. Forensic experts must keep in mind and be extremely careful in how they collect, preserve, and present evidence to ensure that justice is served. Now, the next topic is importance of forensic evidences. How forensic evidence play a crucial role in forensic investigation. Now, the forensic evidences plays a crucial role in criminal investigation by aiding in crime scene reconstruction. Now, what is crime scene reconstruction? Crime scene reconstruction is the process of determining how, when, and where a crime took place by analyzing physical and trace evidences. These help investigators piece together the sequence of events that led to the crime. For example, blood spatter analysis can reveal the position and movement of the victim and suspect. Like, if blood splatters are found high on the walls, it may suggest that a struggle or impact from a weapon. Bullet trajectory analysis can determine where the shooter stood and whether multiple shots were fired. Footprints pattern on the scene can indicate if there were multiple suspects or if the victim tried to escape. The second is suspect and victim identification. Forensic evidence helps prove or disprove a person's presence at a crime scene. Investigators can use DNA, fingerprints, and bodily fluids to establish a link between the suspect, the victim, and the crime scene. Examples include DNA analysis from hair, blood, or saliva can conclusively identify if a suspect was present at the crime scene. If the DNA from a crime scene matches a suspect DNA in a forensic database, it becomes strong evidence of their presence. Also, the fingerprints left on a weapon, a doorknob, or a glass can be compared to the suspect's record to confirm or rule out their presence or involvement. Also, the dental records can be used to identify a victim when a body is too decomposed for facial recognition. The third point is scientific and objective analysis. What does it mean? Forensic evidence ensures that investigations are fact-based and unbiased. This minimizes errors, wrongful convictions, and false accusations, unlike forensic evidences which provide scientific certainty. Examples include lie detectors, or also known as polygraph. These are tests that are sometimes used, but they are not always reliable. Instead, forensic evidences like gunshot residue can scientifically prove if a suspect fired a gun. Also, handwriting analysis can confirm if a suspect forged a document or wrote a threatening letter. Also, the toxicology reports can determine if a victim was poisoned or under the influence of drug at the time of death. In addition to all the points I've explained earlier, forensic evidences plays also a crucial role in understanding criminal profiling, behavior analysis, and also strengthening legal cases. Now, for the fourth point, criminal profiling and behavior analysis. It is basically the process of analyzing evidences, crime patterns, and physiological traits to predict the characteristics and motive of the offender. This helps law enforcement to narrow down suspects and prevent future crimes. For example, the first one can be serial killer profiling. Investigators analyze multiple crime scenes to identify common patterns, such as the victim's demographic, method of killing, also known as modus operandi, and crime scene location. This helps determine if the crimes are committed by the same individual or not. Also, arson investigation can be another example. If multiple fires occur in a similar way, forensic experts analyze burn patterns, accelerants, and past cases to profile a possible arsonist. The fifth point is strengthening legal cases. Forensic evidence is admissible in court and provides concrete scientific proof that supports both the prosecution and the defense. This helps ensure fair trials. Therefore, forensic science is not just about solving crimes. It's about understanding criminal minds, preventing further offenses, and ensuring justice. With the power of forensic evidence, we can create a safer, fairer world where truth prevails. In this slide, I have discussed some of the important legal provisions under BNSS and BNS. So the first one under BNSS is Section 173. It states that magistrates can summon forensic experts. Now, a magistrate can call forensic expert to testify in court just like any other witnesses. This ensures that forensic findings are properly explained and used effectively in legal decisions. Example: imagine a murder case where the forensic expert can be summoned to clarify autopsy findings. Also, if a suspect denies being at the crime scene, a DNA expert can be called to explain how DNA evidence links the suspect to the crime. The second one is Section 175. The Section 125 states that it allows the use of forensic reports in investigation. Here, the forensic reports from ballistics, DNA, toxicology, and cyber forensics now hold the same weight as any other legal documents in investigations. For example, in a cybercrime, a digital forensic report confirming that hacking was done from a specific device can be submitted directly as evidence. The next one is Section 176. This, it, it states that electronic devices is admissible in court. So the digital evidences like CCTV footage, call recordings, and emails is now officially admissible in court. This ensured that modern crimes such as cyber fraud, online harassment, and digital forgery can be prosecuted effectively. And for BNS, the first one is Section 61. It states that the one who tampered forensic evidences will be penalized effectively. It means that destroying or altering forensic evidence such as DNA samples, fingerprints, CCTV footage, or etc. is now a punishable offense. Let's understand this section with an example. So, if a suspect burns blood-stained clothes or wipes fingerprint from a crime scene, they can be criminally charged for tampering with the evidence. Followed by Section 105. In Section 105, it states that forensic science is crucial in proving cases. It means that forensic findings like autopsies, DNA tests, fingerprint analysis, and ballistic reports are now core components of crime investigation. Courts must consider forensic results when making decisions. For example, in rape cases, DNA evidence from the victim's body can legally confirm that the suspect's involvement, making the case stronger. Also, in a shooting incident, a ballistic report can provide which gun fired the bullet, directly linking to a suspect. The last but not the least is the Section 110. Here it states that DNA and fingerprint evidence can legally convict suspects. What does it mean? It means that DNA and fingerprint evidence alone now can be used to convict criminals even without eyewitnesses. Now let's understand this section with an example. If a thief leaves a fingerprint on a broken window during a burglary, this evidence alone is enough to convict them. The next topic is challenges in forensic evidence. Forensic evidence plays a crucial role in criminal investigations, but also challenges like evidence tampering, contamination, and chain of custody issues can compromise its reliability. Mishandling or deliberate alteration of evidence can lead to doubts about forensic findings, while cross-contamination at crime scenes or labs can result in inaccurate results. Similarly, a break in the chain of custody can weaken forensic conclusions, making evidence inadmissible in court. Court may dismiss forensic reports if proper documentation is not maintained, highlighting the need for strict procedural compliance. To prevent such issues, forensic teams must use tamper-proof seals, digital tracking, sterile tools, and detailed logs to ensure the evidence remained unaltered and legally valid. As we have seen, forensic evidence is not just about solving crimes, it's about ensuring justice, strengthening the legal system, and upholding the truth. While advancements in technology have enhanced the accuracy and reliability of forensic evidences, challenges like tampering, chain of custody issues, and involving threats remain. With the introduction of BNS and BNSS, India is taking a major step towards making forensic evidence more legally robust and admissible. But at the heart of all, forensic science is only as strong as the professionals who uphold its integrity. The future lies in the continuous learning, ethical practices, and technological innovation. So, whether you are an aspiring forensic expert, a law enforcement officer, or just someone fascinated by the field, remember, science and justice go hand by hand. Thank you for watching and stay curious about the world of forensics. Thank you.